Nintendo presents Metroid 4? That's not what it's called.
Let's just run with it, you know.
Just, okay, yeah, sure. Metroid 4, yeah.
Even though it came out the same day as Prime, so would this be like 4.5 or the 4.2?
Fusion. Oh, look, it's the Bacon and Space League.
Yeah, I probably should have done my research to see what it actually stood for. I couldn't find anything in the manual.
Yeah, really couldn't. And you know, this is Samus's ship from, like, Metroid 3 and 2, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, so I guess we know what happened to it.
Samus, we bet you can't fly through those asteroids on hand.
Oh, the shit I can't! Check this shit out! Oh, that sucked. Ha! That's what you get for taking a dare. So, Metroid Fusion, ladies and gentlemen. It is the first of many ways. Let me erase this data here. That's data I made for sound test purposes. So this marks a slight deviation from what we normally do. Not in the game, because, you know, the game's fucking predictable as hell. But we're using Discord to record right now, but nothing can quite really match Skype's ability for streaming when you need to without delay. So, you know, screen share is happening in Skype, we have that shit muted, and we're using Discord for our actual chatter chat here. So, yeah, I suppose it was perhaps inevitable that we would get to this game, isn't it?
Oh yeah, seems a appropriate follow-up from our last project.
Yeah, we kind of skipped a couple ones there. So in the way, this is a game of a lot of firsts. There are quite a few things that made their appearance in Metroid Fusion that just weren't present for the previous games. For instance, there's a lot more of a running narrative here. Before, you got one line: the last Metroid's in captivity, and then she gives a brief little, you know, mission log from her time on SR388, and then it's go time. It's all game narrative. You know, no words come fly in your face about what your hero's thinking. And so they just get wordy as fuck in this one.
Well, so I think it was a good attempt to essentially try something different than Metroid's format, because it had been dormant for a good, like, what, almost 10 years at this point?
Yeah, it's just, for me, it was kind of a weird thing that they decided to put a narrative into this at all. Because before this, Samus was, for the most part, the silent protagonist. You know, it was down to you to figure out what was in her head. So, I'm going to slightly, and if you hear any silence right now in the background, I'm quieting down the game audio just a tiny hair of a fraction of a bit, just because I want Rambler's voice to come in equal to my own on this thing here. So, yeah, game audio down. This is also the first for a couple of other things, like, for instance, the power grip, so to speak, never existed before this game. Hanging off of ledges is a natural thing that came in, so this is good. This is a nice improvement, and now it's pretty much a staple of the series, isn't it?
Yeah, I was almost correct you saying it actually came in Zero Mission, but yeah, it was started on this one too, actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, this came out before Zero Mission.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is also, I think, the first Metroid game that lacks any actual fightable Metroids, not counting the final boss, which has been mentioned as being a set piece more than anything else, but you don't actually...
Spoilers!
Oh, yeah, if you haven't played this game by now, you don't deserve to, you know, have an unspoiled ending. So, that's enough time chatting, because we are going to be spending a hell of a lot of time on this intro scene. Let's get started. I'd been assigned to watch over Biologic's research team. Oh, that's what it means. Biologic. Something to do with Biologic is the B. Okay. So I once again found myself on the surface of SR388. Doodly-doo, 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 doodly-doo. Come on.
I can't help but feel like I forgot to do something the last time I was here, but I'm sure I'll figure it out later.
Yeah. We remember this cave. Ooh, he's mad. Look at that asshole being mad. Using a missile on one of those little hoppers, that's a bit OTT, isn't it?
Well, you know, may as well use your gear while you have it, right?
Yeah. It was there that I was attacked by a life form I had never encountered before. Why were you on SR388? Oh, it was only later that I learned the identity of my attacker, the parasitic organism we now know as X. Gonna give it to you! You gonna give it to me? Come on.
God damn it.
Unaware of my condition, I was returning to the station. when disaster struck. I'm tripping balls right now. Once the X had infested my central nervous system, I lost consciousness and my ship drifted into an asteroid belt. Okay.
Oh, sure. We're blaming it on the illness now.
Yeah, that's what her story is. It's like, officer, I swear I wasn't drunk driving. It was the X. It was the X. I have a name. The ship's emergency systems automatically ejected the escape pod before impact. Biologics vessel recovered it and transported me to Galactic Federation HQ. So that's kind of like the parachutes that Ten Shinhan saw, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. However, during the journey, the X multiplied within me, corrupting large areas of my power suit. God, that's an infection right there. You were about to ask me a question. What was it?
Nothing important.
Good.
Look at Samus binging on the cream cheese.
I know. Look at that. It's like she's all up in it. Anyways, it then came to light that the organic components of my power suit had become so integrated with my system that it could not be removed while I was unconscious. See, this, the way that the narrative is put out with like 2 lines at a time, it's kind of hard to read this in a good flowing sentence. Large portions of my suit had to be surgically removed, dramatically altering my physical appearance. However, the X in my central nervous system were too embedded to be removed safely. I was given a minimal chance of survival.
She could have told him about the large button on the back of her suit to just take it off instead of just cutting it out of her body. Just saying.
Yeah, but does that button work? Well, anyways, then someone found a cure.
Yeah.
They proposed using a Metroid cell to make an anti-X vaccine. It seems that the Federation had managed to preserve a cell culture from the last infant Metroid from SR388, which will never possibly come back to bite us, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but we're using very sound science here.
Yeah.
Because this is how it works.
Interesting how the Metroid DNA is on a double helix. They work just like us, I guess. The serum was prepared and injected without delay. The X-parasites were immediately and completely destroyed. Yeah, targeted like fucking...
Targeting reticules and all that.
Exactly. They're watching living tissue. Not a good look for you, Sam. As for me, one life ended, yet I survived reborn as something different. She became Metroid. Pondering this fact, I realize I owe the Metroid hatchling my life twice over.
We'll soon be arriving at the BSL research station.
You went for the robo voice. I can't believe you sometimes.
I must prepare for docking.
Wow. The ship's computer has notified me of our approach to the Biologic Space Labs, or BSL. Okay, fine, it's not the Bacon and Space League, but how much more awesome. Research station. During my surgery, the research team sent the last batch of creatures we captured there, as well as the infected pieces of my power suit. After regaining consciousness, I learned that an unexplained explosion rocked the station. For some reason, this awoke a nameless fear in my heart, and now I'm being sent there to investigate. My mission on the BSL station will be overseen by my new ship's computer. Following the commands of this blunt computerized CO is something I have to bear, as it was a condition of my taking the ship. For someone who dislikes taking orders, this is the second time I've found myself having to do so.
I'm right here.
She's thinking. It makes me recall my other CO. And now we fly into the poop station. Seriously, it looks like poop. Nobody brings this up.
Maybe it's just you.
It's just what? Oh, cool landing lights, bro.
There's been an explosion in the quarantine bay.
I'm just gonna be speeding up the text as much as possible.
The bay currently stores capsules containing the recent samples from SR-388, as well as parts of your suit infected by the X parasites. The cause of the explosion is yet unclear. Investigate. The quarantine bay is here. Move quickly and quietly. You're still unable to use most of your latent abilities. Don't forget that, Samus.
My latent abilities are texted in yellow.
Stop at the navigation room on the way, uplink from there. Is your objective clear?
If I say no, are you gonna talk again?
Totally.
Then I'm gonna say yes.
Now go to the quarantine bay.
I thought we had an agreement. So, finally, after God knows how long, about 10 minutes, we actually get to playing the damn game. So, Metroid Fusion, first actual Metroid game on the Game Boy Advance, first handheld Metroid game in a while, really. The only other example prior to this being Metroid 2 on Game Boy. A couple other things are different, actually. There's no more such a thing as, missile doors anymore. It's just unlocking security protocols. So the game is a little bit on rails there.
Yeah, I think it's something, again, just like largely tied with the narrative anyways, because if you kind of think about it, a lot of the original Metroid is kind of based on gating on your abilities. Well, why not just tie into the narrative and just make it security locks, right?
Yeah, that makes a certain amount of sense. But coming from playing AM2R as much as I have, and believe me, I've been playing a lot of it. If anybody has seen my sub 2 hour hard mode run, I've been playing the fuck out of this game. It's hard to play a Metroid game that controls so clunkily as this. Like, it's pretty much impossible to wall jump, up one wall this way. Because just the trajectory that it's at, it's like you're gone from that wall.
Yeah, but also AM2R also had 10 years of refinement on top of this, so...
Yeah, exactly. The engine, we have to remember, is a lot newer.
The quarantine bay is ahead. Bio signs are confirmed. Be careful.
Yay! Let's launch into this game. Can't even open a door.
And Samus is bioluminescent, apparently.
Yeah, well, I mean, she kind of always put off a little bit of light. No, she didn't. Oh, something went wrong here. Oh no! It's a hoppy thing.
Let's eat it.
Okay. Hey, get the fuck back here. Now, I found something interesting is that when you kill that creature, you don't really actually have to absorb the X cell. I don't think actually the computer makes a comment on you absorbing the X cell until a later point.
They probably just make a point of pointing out for the sake of clear.
Yeah.
This is unfortunate news. The specimens brought back by the field team were infected by X parasites. The X can mimic its prey. Any specimen could have hosted it. Before the explosion, a security sensor scanned one. The gelatinous X parasites invade and rapidly reproduce, killing the host creature. They also absorb DNA and use it to mimic the host. You're almost killed by an X infection. Only the Metroid vaccine saved your life. It seems Metroids were the main predators of the X. That is why the vaccine works so quickly and so well. But it has also changed your cellular makeup. You will never be infected by X again. In fact, you can now absorb any free-floating X parasites without a host merely touching them. This will allow you to replenish health and restore weapons. You may also restore latent abilities this way, so pursue free X parasites wherever you possibly can. This station is home to many species, some violent ones. We may keep the X out of the breeding environments at all costs.
We must keep it, but okay.
This is vital, Samus. I am already detecting massive biosigns in this region. The X are gathering. This may be our chance to exterminate them, but...
I'm disappointed you didn't go a little bit more in on that exterminate them.
Yeah, no. I have some class.
You're only at 10% battle capacity. Your chance of survival is extremely low.
Heaven forbid we play a game with Daleks in it.
The Federation needs you alive and on duty, Samus. Is your objective clear?
Yes!
Now, get going. I have released the lock on level 0 hatches. Look for the blinking hatches.
You've been waiting so long to use the robo voice again. Like, you were just so disappointed when I took over Metaton on
Well,
that.
yeah, because you're portraying him as an angry Texan accent.
Yeah, it was kind of a macho man sort of an accent. That's what I was going for.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna take your soul and save humanity.
He sure did. Oh boy, the X-Parasites are gathering. We should open up doors. That's a great idea. So, I'll be honest, both Rambler and I know this game pretty damn well. I'm gonna be mostly dicking around, be frank with you here. So I'm not going for any kind of an any percent or super 100% or 10% run or anything like that. I'm just trying to play the game and enjoy the game.
I have received news from HQ. They can support you with downloadable weapons data. Once you have this data, you'll be able to use missiles. This will help against some enemies that your beam cannot hurt. Head to the data room for the download. The data room is here.
There it is.
Is your objective clear?
Yes.
With missiles, your chance to survive climbs to 20%.
I always did find that amusing. Your survival chances climb. That's enjoyable. How high do they ever get? Does he ever give us a top figure on that?
Maybe he's kind of like L, and he just kind of gives bullshit percentiles. Really, he means like 0 or 95%.
As he's actually trying to quote real stuff. That computer reminds me of a gruff Federation CO I served under named Adam Malkovich. He called me lady on missions. From anyone else, it would have sounded sarcastic, but Adam made it sound dignified. Out of respect and with some irony, I named the computer after him. Oh, I hope Senpai Bot is noticing me. That's kind of one of my main gripes with this, is that this sets us up for the shitstorm that is Other M.
Yeah, I don't know if I think we might save discussion for that for another time, because that is going to be a giant box of worms that we should probably save for when we have collective thoughts on this.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get around to playing Other M either. Bling, 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 bling. This is also the first game that they did the hold R to use missiles thing, which is a huge convenience, really.
I do like this particular setup, yeah.
Ooh. Beep, 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 boop, boop, boop.
Electrical interference has knocked out the elevators. On the main deck. This may be related to the X. I'll work on it. As for you, try to find another way to the target. It's located here.
Okay.
I'm reading huge biosigns, so I hope your missiles work. To reload missiles, you can use the recharge room or absorb a particular type of X-parasite. You'll see them. Try it out!
So special was too hard a word for you, huh?
Yeah.
Missiles are your only hope. Don't hesitate to use them. Now find a way to the target.
I want to
So
hear
you
you
want
say
to-
the word special.
Special?
Okay, just making sure you can say it.
Did I miss it?
You said particular, and I just thought it was odd that you would choose a slightly longer word than special. But anyways, this particular, when I first played it, this spot did give me a bit of a puzzle. You just blow that plate out with all those beautiful effects. This is not the first time that there's been a recharge station in a Metroid game, though. That honor belongs to Metroid 2.
Well, yeah, I suppose the ship, and yeah, actually those free-floating or random spots recharge your missiles and energy.
Exactly. So there's certain things that have been in the works in this series for a while, and they feel kind of new because they weren't. Some of them just weren't present in Super Metroid. Then we did have Recharge Station in Super Metroid, though. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but a lot of things got their start a bit earlier than we think.
I think it's kind of morbid if you look at those scientists that, get turned into those zombies, right? So we can see that the X-Parasites can fully reproduce like a typical human form later on in the game. But,
Yeah.
These ones, they can't fully constitute a full physical body. That's kind of... Yeah,
Well, the X are learning, remember?
that's true, but...
They have the capability to learn. We haven't even gone into the whole OTT nature of why Metroids to fight, the X-Parasites. Doesn't it feel like a little bit much?
I think it'll probably depend largely on
Red X.
The threat and how pervasive these parasites were, which as parasites they usually are.
Yep. By the way, the red X is like Uber. Always get the red X.
But they usually only come from doors anyways.
Yep. And just remember, anybody, if you're ever low on energy or missiles, X gonna give it to you. I thought the first time I'd get to use that reference would be a Mega Man X game. I am so pleased.
The X doesn't give you anything in those games. X only takes.
And it's the first reappearance of Arachnus since Metroid 2.
Keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
Oh, what are you, Kid Rock now?
Hey. After all you've been pulling so far, I deserve to make some sort of like badly made musical piece.
Oh boy. This is a problem. Now, there is a moment of invulnerability after you hit them. The speedrunners can manage to do a double missile. I can't. Most of this first one will go down to 3 strikes. But most of them after this are going to take quite a bit more than 3 strikes. So this is how we regain our powers now. We absorb larger X cores.
It's also really humiliating to die to those last forms.
It is.
Not saying it ever happened to me.
It is super difficult for me to get used to rolling back into a ball by pressing down twice. But that's where we're going to end this particular episode. I want to thank everybody for watching. Once again, I am Alex, also known as Solanus Raccoon. With me as usual, Rambler81. Hey, Rambler.
See ya.
Bye.